Before the year 2000, a battle almost destroyed the world, involving humans, gods, and demons. They fought against Bahamut, a force that turned the world into a hellish place. To oppose him, the three races united, but their attacks and restraints were futile against his absolute power. Consequently, they sealed Bahamut's power at a great cost for 2,000 years. During this time, a man named Favaro was born. Favaro is currently being hunted by a bounty hunter named Kaisar, who is often tricked by Favaro despite his noble intentions. Kaisar, once a noble knight, has fallen on hard times and become a lowly bounty hunter, all thanks to Favaro. After escaping Kaisar, Favaro was found in a tavern. Just as they were about to fight, Favaro shot Kaisar's mount, forcing him to chase after his horse instead. Favaro agreed to cover all damages in the tavern with the bounty from a wanted poster. Meanwhile, the person on the poster ordered his men to kidnap women, but their carriage was struck by a mysterious object from the sky. Amidst lightning on the carriage roof, a beautiful girl appeared. Holding a broken compass, she realized her journey to Helheim was now impossible. Facing the thieves who intended to harm her, the girl decided to unleash her anger on them. The wanted criminal Garth didn't get the woman he was expecting, but a man showed up instead. Despite being alone, he easily defeated Garth's men. Seeing this, Garth chanted a spell and summoned 3 demons. Favaro sensed trouble and ran away, but was quickly caught. Garth was determined to make him pay dearly, but this played right into Favaro's hands. Garth commanded the demons to breathe fire at Favaro, not realizing that Favaro had already doused the area with alcohol. Both Garth and the demons were engulfed in flames. In his foolish rage, Garth clumsily attacked Favaro and, as expected, was easily defeated. Favaro effortlessly claimed the bounty and exchanged Garth for a reward with the bounty hunter's leader, Bacchus. However, his reward was halved. Favaro's philosophy is to spend the bounty immediately, so he went to the tavern to splurge. He boasted to everyone that this was his 200th bounty mission, although it was really only his 20th. This is just part of his persona, a braggart who often fails. After leaving the tavern, a girl suddenly appeared behind Favaro and asked him to take her to Helheim to find her mother. Favaro had just bragged in the tavern about having been to Helheim, a realm inhabited by demons, and the passing girl overheard him. Seeing that the naive girl believed him, Favaro made an excessive demand. He would take her to Helheim if she kissed him. Just as they were about to kiss, they were interrupted by a roar. The newcomer was Gos, Garth's elder brother, seeking revenge for his brother, whom Favaro had recently defeated for a bounty, explaining why Favaro received only half the reward. As Gos began summoning demons, Favaro had to momentarily forget his agreement with the girl. Gos's summoning powers were much stronger than his brother's. At Gos's command, the demons attacked. In this urgent moment, Favaro still managed to grab the girl and run. He was agile enough to strike a demon in the head, but was then thrown by the demon. In this critical moment, the girl stood in front of him, declaring she would not let her guide be harmed. Then, her eyes began to emit a purple glow. Favaro took the opportunity to retrieve his weapon. Seeing the demon was not yet dead, the girl kicked it powerfully, ending its life. Favaro then killed the still-shocked Gos. Before Favaro could rejoice, an accident happened. A stone lifted by the falling demon hit Favaro, knocking him unconscious. In his coma, he entered a dreamlike state resembling hell, where he saw Bahamut, who had been sealed 2,000 years ago. When he awoke, he found that the tavern's landlady had rescued him and had even prepared bathwater for him. Taking no notice of being a guest, he began undressing himself. However, the landlady grew fearful, as the man before her seemed not to be human. When the man woke up, he found he had grown a demon's tail. After several tests, he realized it wasn't a dream. Although the tail was charming, he wanted to cut it off, but it was too tough. At that time, the girl from the previous day found him. She demanded that Favaro fulfill his promise to take her to Helheim. Indeed, she had acted, but unfortunately, it was after he had passed out. The tail was a result of a contract spell she had cast on him. It would disappear only once he fulfilled his promise. Favaro felt he was the one being tricked. At this moment, he encountered his nemesis, Kaisar. He couldn't reveal his tail to him, so he dressed quickly and fled with the girl. However, She insisted that Favaro immediately fulfill his promise, but he had no idea where Helheim was. It was all a bluff. Meanwhile, Kaisar also located Favaro, but Favaro was thinking about how to break the girl's curse. When Kaisar saw the tale, he felt more convinced that Favaro had been deceiving him and was the cause of his misfortunes. Elsewhere, Favaro took the girl to capture a wanted criminal, intending to use the criminal to get rid of her. He summoned a minotaur who attacked without question, but the girl killed it instantly. Favaro then realized that seeing the girl transform into a demon the previous day was not a dream, so he abandoned the idea of dealing with her himself. Instead, he took her to Bacchus to collect the bounty. Favaro spared no expense to buy the girl a decent outfit and treated her to a large meal. The two were very happy. After eating their fill, in a good mood, the girl ran into the river to bathe under a beautiful starry sky, as beautiful as her eyes. In this moment, however, Favaro was plotting to take the girl's life. The girl's name is Amira. She needs to go to Helheim to find her mother, with whom she shares an identical item that represents her only hope of seeing her mother. At this moment, Kaisar appears, extremely upset with Favaro for hiding his tale, and now for abducting a young girl. His knightly honor compels him to kill Favaro, but Amira steps in front of him. Her beauty distracts Kaisar, and Favaro takes the opportunity to kick him and escape. However, Kaisar feels like he has fallen in love. The kingdom's troops in the city are searching for a female demon with only half a wing because she stole an important key. Favaro seized the opportunity to betray Amira, earning himself a bounty. When the persistent soldiers approached, Amira revealed her true demonic form, her remaining half-wing confirming she was indeed the demon who stole the god key. The soldiers immediately summoned lightning to attack her. As the battle began, Favaro thought it was time to say goodbye to his tale. However, the memories of their recent days together involuntarily surfaced in his mind. Even his horse disapproved of him, leading him back to Amira. The magical attacks had no effect on her and the soldiers reached their limit. Favaro's horse charged in, disrupting the magic attack, and a smoke bomb Favaro dropped provided a chance to escape. Unexpectedly, he ran straight into Amira. The horse signaled for them to flee, but they were soon surrounded on a bridge by the kingdom's troops, who deeply resented the bounty hunter who had betrayed them. Favaro quickly improvised, claiming he did not understand what they were saying, and then took Amira hostage. However, the soldiers did not believe his words. To escape, Favaro and Amira jumped into the water from the bridge. Meanwhile, the kingdom's general also displayed a pendant just like Amira's. The narrowly escaped Favaro regretted saving her, realizing it was a rare chance to break the contract. While gathering herbs, the man encountered a giant python. It lunged at Favaro with its mouth open. Favaro swung on a rope and shot several arrows into the python's eyes, causing it to fall off a cliff. Favaro needed the herbs to deal with a bounty target skilled in using poison. He complained to Amira that she could have easily retrieved the herbs with her wings, questioning why he had to take the risk. Amira explained that she could no longer fly because she lost half of her wing in a battle when she broke into the temple and stole the god key. Demons are not supposed to enter the temple, so it is assumed that Amira used a divine secret technique only gods can use. She sealed the soul of the key within herself, making her the god key. On the other side, the unfortunate Kaisar fainted in the misty forest and was found by a girl named Rita, who took him to her home. He had injured his hand, and Rita's father treated it while her mother prepared a feast to welcome him. However, Rita warned him not to eat the food. Despite Rita's warning, Kaisar felt obliged to appreciate the lifesaver's kindness. It turned out that Rita's parents had a request. The town was targeted by demons that preyed on children at dawn, and Rita was now the only child left. They hoped Kaisar, as a knight, could save the town. Without hesitation, Kaisar accepted the task. Rita didn't eat anything, and even mocked them. Facing the insolent Rita, Kaisar decided to lecture her, but he was surprised by her mature perspective. He then shared his own story. He was born into a knightly family and raised under strict discipline. He resented his family initially, but his perspective changed dramatically after a tragic incident. His father was executed for losing a tribute meant for the king during a bandit attack, leading to the family's disqualification as knights. His mother committed suicide 6 months later. Only then did Kaisar realize how deeply he loved his family, though it was too late for any reconciliation. Rita, however, found his story boring and casually directed him to the bathroom. At dawn, under Kaisar's leadership, The entire town was on high alert. As the demons arrived, the tension rose. The demons were as skilled as humans in combat, matching Caesar in every move and even using human tactics like sneak attacks, employing Favaro's smoke bombs. Caesar was momentarily silenced by a gag, and after the effects of the drug took hold, the demons turned out to be Favaro and Amira. It turned out Caesar was hallucinating from poison. The herbs Favaro had laboriously collected were intended to counteract this poison. Meanwhile, anomalies began emerging in the town. The villagers turned into zombies, except for Rita. Even her parents were no longer human. Remembering Rita's warning not to eat the food made Caesar even more uneasy. It was revealed that Rita was the person on Favaro's bounty list, known as Necromancer Rita. When her identity was exposed, Rita began chanting spells to command the zombies to attack, but these monsters were no match for Favaro and Amira. Caesar also discovered that his hand was not injured. Hating to be manipulated, he became more terrifying than the zombies and charged at Rita's parents. However, Rita stepped in front to protect them because they were still her parents. But they were no longer the loving family she once had. As Rita was bitten, Caesar killed the zombies. Rita was dying, and the item Favaro was after was a book called the Dark Bible, which he subdued to collect the bounty. It turned out the town had been destroyed by a demon attack 200 years ago, and all this was an illusion created by Rita in a pretend game. Favaro urged Caesar to leave quickly, and warned that Rita would soon turn into a zombie as well. Today, Bacchus pointed Favaro to a route leading to Helheim, which required crossing the sea. While Favaro was worried about finding a boat, he met a peculiar person who claimed to know where to find a ship to Helheim, though the information wasn't free. After Amira stole the God Key, she was targeted by demons. Favaro found the boat, but it was old and decrepit, raising doubts about its seaworthiness. Surprisingly, the captain turned out to be an old acquaintance of Favaro, and their greeting was strikingly similar. It turned out that Captain Amon had once served under Favaro's father. With that, the boat set sail. Meanwhile, Caesar was desperately searching for Favaro. After turning into an undead, Rita continued to follow him. Caesar also met the peculiar person and learned that Favaro had already set sail, so he rented a boat to pursue him. The reason for his hatred of Favaro dates back to their childhood. The two were close friends, and Caesar had shared everything with Favaro, including the fact that his father was to escort tribute. However, on that day, Favaro lured Caesar away, and his father was attacked by bandits. Favaro had hidden the fact that he was the son of a thief, leading Caesar to blame him for his misfortunes. What Caesar didn't know was that Favaro's father also died, because the tribute's gems harbored a terrible demonic power. Aemon survived thanks to the protection of Favaro's father, revealing this past to Amira for the first time. Suddenly, the boat shook violently as a giant crab emerged from the sea. Amira casually remarked that it looked tasty. Favaro attacked with his weapon but couldn't breach the crab's defenses. Just as the crab was about to strike Favaro, Amira transformed into a demon and saved him, exposing her identity to the demons. Meanwhile, Caesar ended up on a pirate ship. He was skilled enough to quickly subdue several pirates. The captain took Rita hostage and demanded Caesar drop his weapons. However, Caesar felt pity for the captain's impending fate as Rita bit him. On the other side, Ammon noticed Favaro's tail and revealed his true form. He hung Favaro up and summoned a group of fishmen to control him, using this to threaten Amira into not making any rash moves. It turned out Ammon had become a demon and had orchestrated everything from the robbery of the tribute to the deaths of Favaro's and Caesar's fathers, all to gain demonic power. He had known Favaro was a wanted criminal from the start, and Amira's bounty was exceptionally high, which he saw as a divine opportunity to make money. In desperation, Favaro released a few smoke bombs, and as the smoke spread, another ship sped towards them. It turned out Rita could control zombies, and she had turned the pirates into zombies. The ghost ship, speeding along, quickly crashed into Aemon's ship. Amira took this chance to rescue Favaro. Caesar boarded the ship, vowing to dismantle Favaro completely. Aemon was surprised to find the Night Sun also confronting him. His fishmen were ready to attack, but Rita's zombie pirates intercepted them. Amira and Favaro tried to escape, but were targeted by Aemon. Aemon continuously provoked Favaro, and even produced the magic cannon used to kill his father. However, Favaro dodged it at close range, and seized the moment to shoot an arrow at the ship's rudder, causing the ship to severely list. The monsters on board fell into the sea, and Amun ended up in the claws of a crab. Unbeknownst to them, Rita had turned the crab into a zombie. Kaisar was ready to have a final showdown with Favaro, but suddenly a lightning bolt struck from the sky, followed by a more ominous atmosphere descending. It was a huge tentacle that drove lightning towards Amira. Kaisar stepped in front of her, only to have both of them injured and lose consciousness. The tentacle then seized them. It turned out to be the demon's doing, and thus Amira and Kaisar entered the realm of the demons. Fallen angel Azazel's flying castle captured Amira and Kaisar. For Favaro, one was a witch who cursed him, and the other was his arch-enemy who wanted to kill him. Despite having a perfect chance to escape, Favaro chose to rescue them with Rita. However, their small boat alone could not locate Azazel's castle. At this moment, Amira was poisoned by the flying castle and unable to use her powers. Azazel's minion Pazuzu tortured her, demanding to know why she stole the god key. Kaisar learned that the woman he liked was the demon who stole the god key from the temple. Yet he still believed Amira was innocent and manipulated by Favaro. During a conversation with Kaisar, Azazel learned he was the son of the night, and Favaro was the fool son of a thief, which piqued his interest even more. Meanwhile, Favaro sought Bacchus's help, though his approach was rather clumsy. Seeing their determination, Bacchus agreed to assist them. Azazel, a close associate of Lucifer, was heading to Cocytus. Bacchus positioned them at a strategic location Azazel had to pass. Sure enough, the flying castle appeared there, and Favaro shot a tracking arrow at it. They followed the castle closely. Azazel soon became aware of the intrusion. Favaro and Rita wreaked havoc inside the airship, but their every move was under surveillance. Azazel, intrigued, decided to give Kaisar a chance for revenge. Immediately after, Favaro was taken by a mechanism to the room where Amira was held. But Kaisar burst out. He was determined to vindicate his family's honor right there. Azazel watched the unfolding drama of brother against brother from behind the scenes. However, Favaro did not want to fight the irrational Kaisar. He just wanted to escape with everyone as quickly as possible. But he was caught off guard and defeated. The portal to Cocytus opened, but the drama among the group was not yet concluded, disappointing Azazel. Just as the flying fortress was entering the portal, it suddenly closed. It turned out the Orleans Knights, led by the divinely inspired Joan of Arc, were lying in ambush, making Azazel uneasy. At the same time, under Joan's command, a remote attack on the flying castle was launched. They were also there for Amira. The archery unit, empowered by a specific magic array, had immense power. Then, the dragon cavalry went to search for Amira. Inside the flying castle, Rita had already rescued Amira, but they were blocked by the demon Pazuzu. Favaro and Kaisar temporarily came to an agreement, with the condition that Favaro would stop running away after they escaped. But waiting outside for them was Azazel. Favaro recognized his face. It was he who had killed his father. However, Azazel was too powerful, and he quickly subdued them. Azazel's main goal was always to obtain the god key inside Amira. After being repelled by Amira, Azazel fled. The others, however, were left unaware of what had happened. Empowered by divine force, Joan of Arc destroyed the flying castle, and Amira and the others were captured by her. However, after testing with a demon detection stone, it was confirmed that Amira was just an ordinary girl. At the same time, 3 archangels descended from the sky and bestowed divine power upon Amira. She then emitted blue flames and transformed into a demon. The exposed Amira collapsed in agony. Due to her half-demon heritage, Amira could not be taken back to Temple Arc. Thus, the archangels asked the king to keep a strict watch over her. Favaro and the others were also to be executed. Favaro never imagined that a joke he made would cost him his life. However, the archangels stated they could not harm them, but must protect them instead. Amira is now the god key, a crucial element for releasing Bahamut's seal. Her emotional fluctuations could indirectly affect Bahamut, so those seen as her companions could not be killed. Consequently, the king ended up capturing 4 individuals more important than himself. Amira, having regained some strength, insisted that Favaro take her to Helheim. Favaro revealed his tale, indicating that if it weren't for the curse, he would not have taken so many risks, nor would he take her to Helheim. Seeing Favaro still human, Kaisar let down his guard. Feeling deceived, Amira slapped Favaro. Meanwhile, an alarm for a demon attack sounded. A large number of ghouls were deployed outside the city walls. Joan of Arc went to confront them again. On one side, the archangels were reinforcing the seal with angelic power, but the power fluctuations from Bahamut's imminent awakening were overwhelming them. Although fallen angels could be replaced, this was not a sustainable solution. All this was due to the half-god, half-demon Amira stealing the God Key. The original plan was to bestow the God Key upon Joan of Arc, but plans could not keep up with these changes. This was Archangel Michael's failure. He was about to retrieve the key when suddenly, Amira emitted blue flames, a powerful magic that protected her. This magic likely originated from those intent on breaking Bahamut's seal. Amira was instilled with the belief that she must go to Helheim, where possibly the demon key lay. By controlling Amira, the plotters would likely act, presenting an excellent opportunity to draw them out. On the other side, Amira was unexpectedly rescued by a mysterious person. Kaisar could not bring himself to harm Favaro, puzzled by why Favaro would risk everything to save him and Amira. However, Favaro's manner of speaking once again angered Kaisar. Rita intervened with a slap to both men and informed them that Amira had disappeared. The mysterious person then produced a pendant identical to Amira's, revealing it was entrusted to him by her mother. Favaro, who had been searching everywhere, saw a statue of a monster he had seen in his dreams. Joan explained that this was Bahamut, a being beyond all others. The gods had prophesied that if Bahamut's seal were ever broken again, a holy knight would emerge to bring peace to the world. Everyone believed this prophecy and saw Joan as the chosen holy knight. Despite all this, Favaro showed no interest. Joan reminded everyone that each person is born with a mission, so there was no need to feel troubled by it. Defeated fallen angel Azazel was mocked by his peers outside Lucifer's door. Azazel then rallied the demons again to besiege the human royal castle, determined to reclaim the God Key and restore his lost honor. However, the castle was heavily guarded and possessed powers comparable to the demons, including giant guardian statues, magicians operating magic arrays, and brave dragon knights. Joan of Arc was in charge of defending the castle, and a great battle was imminent. Having successfully escaped, Amira found Favaro again and told him she had seen her father here, but she was now so hungry she was about to faint. The human trebuchet teams launched enchanted attacks, but the demons' innate advantages overwhelmed most of the human soldiers, quickly breaching the first line of defense. A large number of demons flew over the castle, plunging humans into a fierce battle. The dragon knights took on the flying demons, thankfully destroying most of them through enchanted magical formations. Azazel thought these were merely human tricks, ineffective against absolute power. But in the next moment, several powerful beams of light annihilated the remaining demons, attacks unleashed by none other than Joan of Arc. Then Pazuzu requested to join the battle. He easily destroyed the last line of defense, wrapped in storm and lightning, determined to show the lowly humans his power. Meanwhile, Azazel had entered the castle and started searching for Amira. However, at this time, Amira was still enjoying her meal, and the two men couldn't pull her away. After eating, she fell asleep. But Azazel had already found them. The responsibility to protect Amira fell on the two men. However, Azazel had no time for games. He informed Kaisar that his tragic fate was orchestrated by him, vividly recalling the cruel treatment of Kaisar's father, all part of his plot. Favaro didn't want Kaisar to be consumed by hatred, so he took the blame upon himself. He urged Kaisar to take Amira and escape to Helheim. Rita was the most clear-headed at the moment, and she helped Kaisar and Amira escape from the location. Favaro was no match for Azazel. Finding Favaro quite amusing, Azazel decided to toy with him and summoned skeleton soldiers to chase after Amira. On the other side, Joan of Arc was also at a disadvantage, but her eyes showed she had not admitted defeat. Pazuzu despised this look and prepared to kill Joan completely. This guy grew a tail and thought he could stand against a fallen angel. In reality, he was just getting beaten while trying to protect his friends, and his weapon had already been confiscated by the king. Then, Azazel's attack hit Favaro. He was tired of playing, but just then, dust rose, and Kaisar returned to save Favaro, assuring him that Amira was safe with Rita's protection. Their brotherly bond, however, only drew Azazel's mockery. He scoffed at the mere humans daring to seek revenge on him. Favaro stated that he did not consider him an enemy. He refused to live with hatred. To him, Azazel was just a pitiful demon. Kaisar was genuinely happy, relieved that Favaro was not his enemy, but still his best childhood friend. He charged at Azazel but couldn't harm him at all. Favaro threw a hidden weapon to distract Azazel, but tricks that worked on humans were ineffective against a fallen angel. Azazel did not expect to be entangled in this fight for so long, and decided it was time to end this pointless drama. However, his attack was unexpectedly blocked by Favaro's tail, giving Favaro a new combat skill. Human weapons were incapable of killing Azazel. In a critical moment, Caesar saw a glimmer of light in the distance through a reflection, which was their only hope to defeat Azazel. To distract Azazel, Caesar launched an attack. Joan of Arc's strike hit Azazel directly, leading to a complete victory for the humans in this great battle. On the other side, Rita had dealt with the demons, but when she turned around, she discovered that Amira was missing. It turned out that Amira had been taken away by her so-called father. She was brought before the statue of Bahamut and felt its immense power. Because his subordinate Azazel was soundly defeated by humans, Lucifer faced mockery from the demon Beelzebub, who boasted that he would retrieve the God Key. The defeated Azazel was intercepted by Beelzebub, who deemed him useless. Unprepared for such betrayal, Azazel was about to retaliate, but was trapped by Beelzebub's blue flames. Meanwhile, the angels sent by the archangels to quell the threat were completely annihilated. Gabriel suspected that someone else was behind this, not just Azazel, and that the true instigator had shown their hand. Fortunately, the God Key was not taken. Favaro and Caesar were hailed as heroes for their roles in the battle, being promoted from bounty hunters to knights. Favaro was uninterested, but Caesar joyfully wept, having restored his family's knightly honor. Archangel Michael descended from heaven to commend the humans for their victory, and presented a divine weapon, Précieuse, a sword so powerful it could slay gods. This sacred yet sinister sword was bestowed upon Joan of Arc. The king was deeply disheartened, feeling overshadowed by Joan. After the commendation, someone poisoned the king's wine. In his despondence, the king drank heavily and immediately hallucinated. His deceased mother appeared, warning him that Joan of Arc coveted the throne and showed him a vision of the future. On the other side, Amira found the man she believed to be her father, Lavallée. However, Lavallée informed her that he was not her father, but a guardian to the angel Nicole, who is Amira's mother. Nicole had committed a taboo and was excommunicated by the angels. Beelzebub took advantage of this and kidnapped Amira as an infant. Nicole set out on a journey to the demon world to retrieve her child, leaving behind only a pendant. It wasn't until that day on a suspension bridge that Lavallée realized Amira was Nicole's child. From a young age, Amira was instilled with the idea of stealing the God Key and then going to Helheim to find her mother. Lavallée merged Amira's pendant with his own, revealing it to be a high-level navigator. He pointed out Nicole's current location. This new compass would guide her to find her mother, and at that time, the connection between Amira and the key would also be resolved. Meanwhile, Rita used a zombie dragon to distract the guards. They did not inform Caesar, as he had finally regained his knightly status, and they did not want to drag him back into the fray. Favaro also couldn't help thinking that he might not return from this mission. On another note, Caesar realized his teammates were up to something. Lavallée instructed Caesar to lead the first squadron to pursue Amira. Caesar was puzzled why he, a newcomer, was given such a responsibility. Lavallée explained that the captain of the first squadron had been harmed and urged Caesar to quickly retrieve Amira. The king found golden hairs in the hand of the first squadron's captain, the same color as Joan of Arc's hair, giving him ample reason to apprehend Joan. Favaro and Amira entered a mystical forest and were ambushed by human knights, led unexpectedly by Caesar. Despite their past friendship, they fought fiercely. Caesar did not want to capture them, but other soldiers, who were not obeying his commands, attacked Amira. Perhaps triggered by Amira's emotional turmoil, the key she carried emitted a bright light, transporting them to another dimension. Simultaneously, Bahamut began to awaken more forcefully. The archangels risked everything to strengthen the seals. Michael placed his hopes on Joan of Arc, wishing for her to quickly find Amira and stabilize her emotions. Unbeknownst to him, Joan had been thrown into prison. At that moment, the mysterious person who had poisoned the king appeared behind Joan, informing her that the angels would not come to rescue her and tempting her to drink poison to learn the truth. However, Joan remained unmoved, believing that Michael would never abandon her. In the alternate dimension, the trio discovered a thorn and took turns trying to remove it. Even Amira could not budge it, but Favaro easily pulled it out. Unbeknownst to them, they had awakened a massive creature, which continually expressed gratitude towards Favaro. It turned out that the thorn had been bothering him for 2,000 years. During the cataclysmic battle where Zeus and Satan had teamed up to seal Bahamut, a bone spur from Bahamut had lodged in his foot. The ancient dragon was an observer of catastrophes, foreseeing that Bahamut would reignite war due to Amira. The destruction that occurred 2,000 years ago was set to recur. Amira asked if her existence would lead to the destruction of everything. The ancient dragon gave a reluctant and affirming response. However, remaining in this alternate dimension could change the fate of destruction, but it would mean losing their freedom forever. Favaro did not want Amira to spend her life like this, especially since she had not yet met her mother. Unwilling to accept this fate, they decided to change it together. Favaro then used the bone spur to create a crack in the dimension. Seeing this, the ancient dragon gave the bone spur to Favaro. They quickly found the location where Amira's mother was imprisoned. However, Favaro kept thinking about the advice given by the ancient dragon. As long as the key remained with Amira, no miracles could occur. Zeus and Satan, incarnated as the key, could have manifested through human lineage. However, Amira, possessing both divine and demonic bloodlines, could not do so. She was the key, and her ultimate fate was to merge with Bahamut. To prevent Bahamut's resurrection, Amira would have to be killed. Favaro turned Bahamut's bone spur into a weapon. Just as they were fully immersed in joy, the ground abruptly split open, and the land broke into countless floating stones. The mastermind behind all this revealed his true identity. He was Amira's mentor, Martinet. Martinet told her that this place was the Helheim she wished to reach. The compass they had used as a guide was a lie, designed to lead Amira to Helheim. Then, the demon Belzebuth appeared behind Martinet. He imprisoned Favaro and Kaisar and ordered Amira to fulfill her destiny as the key. However, having traveled with Favaro, Amira had already decided to change this fate. She wanted to find her mother, take her home, and have her remove the key inside her. Martinet summoned a crystal containing Amira's long-sought mother. Amira stepped towards her mother, but Favaro realized it was a trap. As Amira approached, her mother also felt pain. Martinet continued to stir up trouble on the side. Suddenly, images flashed in Amira's mind. She saw a clone of herself. Martinet explained that Amira was just a key container created by Belzebuth using Nicole's template. The necklace was merely a device to implant false memories. All of Amira's memories were fabricated. She was nothing more than a manufactured tool. Despite this, Amira still wanted to say goodbye to her mother. Their first meeting turned into a final farewell, but this did not move the demons around her. As Amira roared, the demon key also empowered her, making her the key to unlocking Bahamut's seal. Seeing his chance, Belzebuth stabbed Amira with a spear, completing the final creation of the key. Seeing this, Favaro tried to pretend to join the demons, but Martinet had already anticipated Favaro's tricks and quickly subdued him. Then, Martinet forced a demonic potion into Favaro's mouth, which reacted strongly and transformed Favaro into a demon. Recently, Joan of Arc was accused by the king of being a witch and was sentenced to be burned at the stake. The common people tried to break through the barriers to save her, but the king ordered these people to be punished on the spot. Joan could no longer stand by, so she prayed to the heavens for divine help. However, the angels told her that God did not love humanity. It turned out that everything was an illusion created by the mysterious person's magic. Joan, looking at the injured people, consumed the demonic potion in anger. The execution site was instantly engulfed in blue flames. Just as the king had predicted, Joan truly became a demon. She summoned the divine weapon given to her by the angels, which turned into a demonic sword at that moment. Then, she summoned demons and flew away. Elsewhere, Rita was discovered by a mysterious person in a secret room, but managed to escape at a cost. She brought back some medicinal herbs from the secret room to Bacchus. She figured out that Joan could transform into a demon because she had made a pact with a demon. Bacchus mentioned that a wanted criminal who could change his appearance at will was capable of this, and currently no one could catch him. Suddenly, their carriage shook violently, running over the barely alive Azazel. They tied him to the carriage, and Rita demanded he disclose everything he knew. Azazel agreed to talk on the condition that they take him to Abos, the place where Bahamut was sealed. Through Azazel's candid revelations, Rita learned the identity of the mysterious person and developed a medicine that could counteract his magic. They then set off to Abos to rescue the 3 people captured by Belzebuth. Elsewhere, the 3 archangels were using all their divine power to maintain the seal when the demon-transformed Joan of Arc arrived. She used her divine weapon to kill Archangel Raphael. Her next target was Archangel Uriel, who was maintaining the seal while also fighting Joan. None of his attacks hit her, and with a powerful strike, Joan brought down Uriel. The magical formation was on the verge of collapse. Meanwhile, Kaisar had been thrown into the abyss by Belzebuth. Looking at the demon-possessed Favaro, Kaisar attempted to call him back to his senses, but Favaro could no longer hear him. Fortunately, Bacchus arrived just in time to rescue Kaisar. At the same time, they saw Archangel Michael being chased by Joan. Rita explained to Kaisar that Joan had become a demon, seemingly affected by the same magic as Favaro. As gods and demons converged on Abos, Belzebuth's so-called time of judgment arrived. Joan, indiscriminately, launched an attack on Bacchus, who had to fight to protect the carriage, but ultimately fell into the abyss under Joan's assault. Hamza rescued Bacchus and battled Joan again. At that moment, Kaisar also encountered his enemy Azazel. Faced with a choice between justice and revenge, Kaisar made his decision. Azazel had his own agenda to pursue. Rita provided Kaisar with a medicine to save Favaro, but Hamza accidentally caused the carriage to overturn, and Kaisar fell again. However, he was lucky as Azazel appeared and saved him. Watching Bacchus and Joan fight fiercely, it was crucial that the last remaining antidote be consumed by Joan. Michael intervened in time to stop Joan's attack, but it cost him his life. Archangel Michael fell. Belzebuth, looking at the remaining ineffective angels, decided it was time for them to go to hell. Azazel intervened in time to stop his violence, seeking revenge against Belzebuth. A fallen angel and a demon clashed fiercely. Meanwhile, the carriage rushed into the battlefield, and Rita headed straight for Amira, but was stopped by the demonized Favaro, who attacked her mercilessly. Favaro then fled with Amira. Martinet, facing a true god, drank the demonic potion, significantly increasing his power. Favaro took Amira to Bahamut, where Kaisar attempted to stop them. The 2 brothers finally fought seriously. They had sparred countless times before, but Favaro's ruthless attacks were something Kaisar had never experienced. It seemed Favaro had truly become a demon. Kaisar, with a heavy heart, shot an arrow into Favaro's chest. Perhaps sensing the sadness, Amira manifested an angelic form from a sphere of light. Then Lavali appeared and informed Kaisar that the real show was about to start. Rita arrived and urged Kaisar to leave Lavali quickly. Soon after, Bahamut's strong resurrection instincts kicked in. Beams of light swept towards Amira, and as the key, she was taken away. Kaisar was once again pushed into the abyss by Lavali. Bahamut, capable of destroying everything, has been reborn and is now conducting a unilateral slaughter in Abos. All of this is the doing of the demon Belzebuth, who wanted to use Bahamut to make all gods and demons submit to him. He commanded Bahamut to launch an attack to intimidate others. But in the next moment, the dragon's breath turned against Belzebuth. He could not understand why the key he created with his own magic could not control Bahamut. It turned out he was just a pawn in someone else's game. Azazel seized this rare opportunity for revenge. Meanwhile, Lavali, watching from a distance, marveled at everything unfolding. Rita, piecing together many clues, discovered that Lavali was the mastermind behind everything. He had guided Amira to Helheim, enabling her transformation into the key, and later incited Joan to become a demon and kill the 3 archangels. His lies had deceived everyone, and he was also the shape-shifting bounty criminal Bacchus had mentioned. Angry, Kaisar thrust his weapon through Lavali's chest, but human weapons could not harm him at all. Using transformation magic, Lavali mocked Kaisar. Seeing Kaisar still ready to fight, Lavali decided to call on his old friend to join the game. He now wanted to watch the drama unfolding before him. a cataclysmic battle that occurred only once every 2,000 years. The human kingdom's castle was also in crisis, with the king dying under a portrait of his queen mother. Meanwhile, the battling brothers were actually putting on a performance. To make it seem more real, they had to use some genuine tactics. Favaro broke Caesar's weapon and even cut off one of his arms. It turns out this is the right way to deal with a bounty criminal. Even with great personal strength, one cannot break the power of a strong pact. The arrow Caesar shot at Favaro contained an antidote placed inside it beforehand. However, Rita commented that the cost was perhaps too high. Yet, the reward Bacchus offered this time would shock them. Favaro, however, lost interest in it since Amira had not returned. Seeing Bahamut, who seemed to be the embodiment of power, he feared his dream might not come true. He decided to follow the prophecy of the ancient dragon to kill Amira and destroy Bahamut. Caesar could not accept this decision, but Bacchus told Caesar not to interfere with Favaro. Favaro needed to reach the top of Bahamut's head, a task assigned to Hamza. Hamza unleashed his divine power and transformed himself into a white goose. Caesar insisted on following. This was for the best. They would face the difficulties together. Thus the two brothers embarked on this sorrowful journey together. Favaro made a painful decision to personally kill Amira, as it seemed the only way to deal with Bahamut at the moment. Hamza's evasion skills were flawless, but it was still challenging to approach Bahamut, who was attacking indiscriminately. At this time, Archangel Gabriel led the gods to activate a sealing matrix, and the demons, led by Lucifer, joined in. This marked a unified front against Bahamut by gods and demons, similar to what happened 2,000 years ago. The sealing matrix provided Hamza with a perfect opportunity. With the aid of Favaro's rope, they landed on Bahamut's body. However, moving on Bahamut was not like moving on land, and the journey was tough. Eventually, with Caesar's assistance, Favaro reached the totem on Bahamut's head. Favaro drove a spike directly into the totem, but this caused Bahamut's energy to leak and nearly collapse the seal. At that moment, Joan saw the vision of the prophecy. The Holy Night truly existed, and it was none other than Favaro, who was in deep pain. Amid Bahamut's violent shaking, Favaro awkwardly landed on Bahamut's pupil, and Amira emerged from the eye, transforming before him. Amira saw in Favaro's eyes a reluctance to let go. This time, he truly hadn't deceived her. Perhaps he never had. She felt fortunate to have met him and chose to offer a passionate kiss as a sincere response. But it was also a farewell kiss and a mark of love that had been shared. The war ended. Favaro now sported a stylish prosthetic leg, but he firmly believed that Bahamut was not destroyed, just as he believed in Amira. He was convinced she was still alive somewhere. Caesar, now with a prosthetic arm, descended from the sky. He had abandoned the knightly code to continue adventuring with his brother.